Hello again and welcome to another Diablo 2 Resurrected video. Today I continue my quest to attempt to create the most high rune dependent item in the game, Last Wish. In this video I'll be farming the secret cow level. Due to how runes drop in the game, it's not based off of magic find, but instead monster density, type, and a high player count. I'll be running a Javazon for these runs, the main skills being Charge Strike for arguably the most DPS in the game, and Lightning Fury which deals massive AoE damage. I'll be using Enigma with Teleport to try and corral all the cows into a tight ball to unleash Lightning Fury. The skill will hit a cow and then split off and strike the nearest targets. I'll then use Charge Strike to clear the remaining cows as Lightning Fury falls off with smaller groups of monsters. My first draw comes on the way to get Wurt's Leg and Tristram. An Ethereal Demon's Horde's Edge for Barbarians. Next comes my first skiller of the run, and it's a life skiller for Summon Necro. And literally right after, a Nist rune. Cows may be good for rune drops, but they're also good for grand charms and skillers. My next skiller that drops is Lightning Skiller for Sorceress. The Grand Charms keep dropping. Here's another skiller for Masteries this time. But in the same pile, a 4-socketed Dust Shroud, which is a good base for Chains of Honor. The next rune drop comes in the form of a Foul Rune. My biggest upgrade of the run comes from my first Sunder Charm drop. I wasn't expecting it, but it's a latent Crack of the Heavens Sunder. So I decided to go upgrade it. It rolled horribly, but an upgrade no matter what. I decided that my damage wasn't very good, so I'm going to try and upgrade my character a little bit more. Here I decided to switch out my BK ring for one of my SOJs. And at the same time, I'm going to take another one to Charcy and spawn a Diablo clone. I made the mistake of not paying attention to the Terra zones and spawned Diablo right in a Terra zone. Fortunately, Terra's declone isn't too bad. It didn't roll terribly, but it's decent with the all-res. With the new Sunder breaking immunes, I now have negative 24% monster lightning immunity. Should help my clear speed a lot more now. Here I'm debating to add the Javazon's best in slot Chains of Honor, but ultimately deciding to stay with Enigma for the mobility and ability to herd the cows together, plus survivability to regroup to save my Merc. Speaking of my Merc, I decided I'm going to swap out my Holy Freeze Merc. This time, I will go with a Might Aura Merc to get the extra 210% damage. On my very next run, I get my next rune drop, a Ko, good for Heart of the Oak. Global drop is a rare set item. Cow King's Hide, the only set item I'm missing from my Chronicle. Another rune drops, this time a pole, which is another required rune for Heart of the Oak. My next unique drop comes. Nosferatu's Coil, good for its increased attack speed and lifesteal. Here another duplicate mid-rune, Pole. Next I get a cool double drop. First being a lidless wall, good budget spirit. Second, is Talrash's Lidless Eye. Too bad I rolled 2-1-1 on the skills. Another Grand Charm drops. This is my second life skiller. Too bad it's a low life roll with masteries. Another mid-rune drops. This time a Limb Rune. Good for making treachery. The mid-runes keep dropping in the form of another co-rune. Still waiting on that high rune. The next unique that drops is a great shield for hardcore players. Storm Shield. Great for the damage resistance and survivability. A notable set item drops. This time is for the Alder set, Alder's Deception. Yet another Grand Charm drops. A second Lightning Skiller. My rune luck has been abysmal during these runs. Another co-rune. The next drop is an amazing Paladin Shield. Sacred Rondash with perfect all-res roll. This one's definitely worth the socket quest. Next we have a good budget assassin weapon. Jade Talon. Next I get one of the best Magic Find gloves in the game. Too bad I rolled Ethereal and real low on the Magic Find. Here I get a nice Ethereal Thresher drop. Let's go cube some sockets. Only 2. Horrible. Here drops one of the best Enigma bases, a Mage Plate with 3 sockets. Here I get a double rare drop. They are both so close to being good, but missing key fixes like faster cast rate on the ring and an increased attack speed on the gloves. Luckily I get rewarded with another Grand Charm from the same loot pile. This time a Demon Skiller for the Warlock. Then to end the same run, a Palpable drops me yet another Skiller. An Offensive Aura Skiller for the Paladin. My next drop comes from Rakinishu. The Scalper, a good throw barbarian weapon. Cows are really good for base items for rune words. This time I get a nice 5-socketed Phase Blade, which got me thinking, I have an Ist and an Omrune. Let's try to roll another Call to Arms. Unfortunately, it rolled worse than the one I'm already using. Guess I'll save it for my other characters. Another good drop comes in the form of unique boots. A pair of Sandstorm Treks. The Grand Charms keep dropping. This time, Eldritch Skiller for the Warlock. The next notable drop I get is the Arm of King Leoric, one of the more interesting items with all the plus to skills. One of the best belts for melee fighters drops next. String of Ears. Finally, an amulet drops. Unfortunately not a Mars, but instead a Seraph's Hymn for the Chronicle. This next belt is best in slot for a Javazon. Razor Tail. Too bad it's rolled ethereal. In an attempt to do more damage to help with my clear speed, I decided to burn a socket quest on another character so I can put a 5/4 light facet into my Griffins. Not a huge boost, but a step in a better direction. I get a pretty amazing double small charm drop here. First, Perfect Poison. And secondly, an almost perfect Magic Find Charm. Next is yet another small charm, this time a Perfect Lifer. Here I get a duplicate drop, which I thought only drops from the Cow King. Another Cow King's Hide. Yet another duplicate drop. Another Storm Shield. But also a small charm. This time is pretty amazing. Perfect Lifer with some max damage and attack rating affixes. The next unique item is pretty neat. It's called Radaman's Sphere. Not best in slot for anything, but a cool item in my mind. Another set item drops here. This time it's a Tal Rashes. The Heradra Crest. A good budget merc helm. Here I get another socketed Mage Plate. Another Enigma base. A monster interest from decided to bless me with a nice unique ring. Ravenfrost. Great for its cannot be frozen. The next socketed armor I get is an alternate Enigma base, a 3-socketed Dust Shroud. The final notable drop is a matriarchal bow, Blood Raven's Charge. A good weapon for a bows on with his plus to skills and explosive aerials. This comes to the end of my time with the Moo Moo Farm, and here's my final thoughts on the run. I did over 500 runs and sure, a lot of runes did drop. I would estimate around 4 to 5 per run. Unfortunately, all I received were mid to high runes and a handful of unique and decent set items. I remember a famous quote by Einstein about his definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. This run pushed me to the brink of insanity looking for those high runes. Unfortunately, I couldn't add another Jaw or a Burr rune, but on the positive side of things, I did receive a lot of good Skiller Grand Charms and a bunch of amazing life and resistance small charms. It will go a long way with strengthening my other characters to make better content for you all. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it even if my high rune goal came up flat. My next video I'll be visiting another place that is one of the best spots for farming high runes. Stay tuned and find out.